Thank you for checking out this little teaser of the history of the papacy and church. Here's a little taste of what's coming up soon on the History of the Papacy podcast. Now, if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. If you want to support the podcast even more, consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/history of the papacy. There are many levels and benefits for you, and you help keep the history of the papacy going. You can learn more about all of this at historyofthepapacypodcast.com. With that, here's another piece of the mosaic of the popes of Rome and Christian church, and I will definitely be talking to you more soon. He's one of probably the most important popes of all time.
Yes. Pius IX it's a very complex figure. His election is basically was seen by the New Guelphs, the Confederalists, as a sign of the time, as the time were ripe for their plan, because this was not a reactionary pope. This was not a conservative pope. This was a pope that had some liberal feelings, liberal leanings, and was also a patriot. So people knew that he was, he was an Italian. Many popes that were, born in Italy, they did not think about themselves as Italians. They were, the popes of the Universal Church. That's something different from being an Italian pope. So, because again, that concept is fairly recent. This was really a pope that thought about himself as Italian, and that created some expectations from him that he would lead the way in the Italian unification. He would do something very important when the time was ripe, and I think this was, it was doomed from the beginning. Because it's not the role of the papacy to build a nation state against other nations. The role of the church is universal. And the papacy would have never survived that. I think that was a dream. But, that doesn't mean that people cannot dream, right? So the Pope, when he was